Welcome back, guys. In this section, we're going to be changing the color of an eye. It's super fun. We're going to use some new blending modes that we haven't used before to get this done. So let's go ahead and start off. I'm going to just open up our image for today. We're on intermediate coloring 6. Let's hit open here, and I'm going to hit F for full screen. So eyes, super cool. It's got a lot of fun, interesting detail here. And we're going to do this in a couple of different steps. So we're going to take a color around the edge, we're going to do a color in the center, and we're going to target this like this brownish color here as well. Okay, so starting off, I'm going to use color fill, or solid color fill layers rather. So solid color fill layers are just really nice because you can change the color very, very easily. Let's just start off with like a nice bright green. That looks good. And I'm going to click on the layer mask, hit Control or Command I to invert that. Okay, now with my brush, I'm just going to use my regular old soft edged white brush here and kind of paint from the inside to the outside. There we go. Not super worried whether or not I'm going outside of the eye. We're going to use a group mask to make sure that that's, there we go, to make sure that that's not going to be visible anywhere else. All right, but notice how I'm kind of creating a pattern that's kind of going in and out, trying to like, you know, make this variable like the inside of the eye. I don't want to just do something like that because then you can see this isn't nearly as variable. It's not going to look as much like an eye. Okay, so let's change our layer blend mode. Now, up until now, we've been using primarily color blend mode as well as hue, but there are some other blend modes that you can use to get this done. Things that are kind of blend together with the original colors. We're going to test out using a few different modes, namely soft light and overlay. Really, all of these will do it. They'll do different effects. So overlay, you can see here, definitely adds the green color as an overlay. Okay, soft light, it's going to add your green color. It's just going to be a little bit more subtle than the overlay. Hard light is going to be less subtle. Vivid light is going to be super strong. Linear light, pin light, and a hard mix. So really, most of the time you're going to be using either overlay or soft light. So let's see what soft light does. That's going to create a little bit more of a realistic response. So I think we're going to stick with soft light for now. So just a heads up, here's what soft light looks like, okay? And here's what color looks like. So you can see soft light's just going to be a little bit more subtle. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this, and let's just fill this layer mask with black, Shift Delete, fill this with black, and then I'm going to paint white on the inside of the eye now, kind of inside going out. There we go, something like that looks pretty good. Okay, so basically just getting the inside done, and you can see we are left with a fairly realistic result. Now we're going to do one more. I'm just going to make these two invisible, new layer, or you can click on your background. Let's go to select, down to color range, and I'm going to click right here, see if I can get this, you know, this little brownish area that's right there in the eye. There we go. And let's just bring that up just a little bit and hit OK. And then this is going to get a color fill layer too. So let's go to solid color. There we go. And we'll go ahead and change this to soft light as well. Okay. So now we've got a few of these visible. I want to restrict them just to the eye itself. So let's go ahead and shift click all these layers, group them together by hitting Control or Command G. And then I'm just going to use my elliptical marquee tool. Okay, and we're just going to make a selection right around the eye. There we go. Now, a little quick tip here just to make sure, because right now if I just let go and go with this, it's got a really hard edge, this selection does. So I want to make sure that the edge is a little bit softer. So I like to go ahead and make my selection just, you know, totally normal with my marquee tool. And then I use the quick mask to view that selection. So let's hit Q, and we can view our selection with the quick mask. I need to move it over just a little bit. There we go. Q will help me view my selection with the quick mask. Now, the cool thing about being in a quick mask mode is that I can actually blur this using a Gaussian blur. So let's go to Filter, Blur, and then Gaussian Blur. Okay, and I can blur the edge. There we go. That looks really nice. Let's hit OK there, and then I can hit Q again, and it goes back to my selection. So Q just goes in your quick mask, and you can do cool things. Like you can actually like paint on here if you want. And then if I hit Q, you're gonna see it's gonna enter into my selection. All right, let's just undo that because we really don't want that. Okay, so that looks great. Q, we're back into our selection, and I'm just gonna click on my layer mask icon. And what that's gonna do is just gonna make sure that all these layers are only gonna be visible where I made that selection. So it's just visible basically over top of the eye. Okay guys, so now we got a few different layers. We got the outer ring of the eye, we got the inner ring, and we've got some color variation in the eye. They're all masked and grouped together to just be visible where the eye is. So now we can start changing these colors and getting some unique effects. So jumping back in, all we have to do now, and that's why I love these solid fill layers. There we go, just double click right there, and then simply change your color here, and it's gonna automatically update right here, which is so cool. So you can see, you can make these darker, you can make them lighter, and you can make them more saturated and less saturated. So let's go with like a, there we go. We'll go with a blue, so that's gonna be a little bit darker. There we go. Oh, that's kind of nice, right? That nice like aqua color. That looks pretty cool. And then these little guys here, let's see, we can make these greenish. There we go. We can make these bluish. We could even make them purple or red. Really, I mean, any color. Yeah, that looks cool with the red. So we have like a blue eye now. And you can see I can just take this and I can adjust these colors and levels at any point in time. So obviously you can use this to create, you know, realistic looking eyes. But you could also do, you know, kind of like fantasy looking. Let's see if we go here, pull in like an orange. Yeah, something like that, starting to look cool. A little bit more fantasy, you know, people don't really have eyes that look like that, but why not? They could look like that in our example. So let's just do, let's see, it started off with a blue eye, we did green. Let's just do a standard brown. Brown is just orange, that's just desaturated, okay? So that's just like right over there. We'll just pop in here. All right, a little less saturated there. There we go, that looks good. Obviously these are not looking right now. Let's see. Maybe we'll do like a darker green in there. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. Now, because these are set to soft light, if I want them to be more vivid, I can go to overlay, and these are gonna make them more vivid. But you're gonna see here in soft light, we still get a lot of color variation. If I just change this from normal to color, all of a sudden we lose all the color variation. You can see if these are both just set to color, it just looks like the same color. It makes things look super flat. So don't forget about your other blending modes, soft light, and we'll change this one back to soft light as well. Okay, and then you can always, like if I wanted to duplicate this and change this to like color, there we go. And I can still do this. Like if I really wanted this color, I could then just lower the opacity quite a bit, and it's just gonna get a little bit more of that color in there. But I like it here set to soft light. So just a really interesting way to change the color of eyes, and I recommend doing an outer ring, an inner ring, and then any details you can. Okay guys, that's it for this section. We'll see you in the next one.